Am I good? Am I back? Okay, all right. Hopefully I don't fucking lose the connection again. I don't know if this is gonna start a new broadcast or if it's gonna pick up where it left off. That's the struggle, guys. That's the fucking struggle living in your grandma's house 24. Holy shit. Damn. The Wi-Fi is really strong. It's just that the room I'm in is like far away from the router. So yeah. Where was I? Okay, so all right, so recap. I talked about why I think that Dr. Ford is telling the truth. The beer, her not being able to remember exactly where the party was. Like I said, my hometown. I know it like the back of my hand, but I could not tell you every single house party I went to. I mean, that's like the main point there. Now going into Kavanaugh, where I think he was telling the truth. Again, people were giving him a lot of shit for becoming so emotional. And they were saying that, oh, well, if he's going to be Supreme Court justice, he's too emotional. The man only got emotional, right, when he was referring to his daughter and when he was defending his reputation as a young. So he only got emotional, okay, when he was talking about his child. What the fuck? Oh, shit. Oh, my God, yo. All right. When he was talking about his child and when he was talking about his childhood memories. So I think it's kind of interesting that, people are giving him so much shit for being emotional, but he only became emotional when he was discussing things that any human being might get emotional about. I mean, I don't have kids, but everyone I know who has kids or people who I know who have kids on the way, it's like, they get emotional about their kids. I mean, you don't and to fake that, I think to fake that not only would take psychopathy, but I also think that you would have to be a very good actor. That's the thing too. People think just because you're crazy, that makes you a good actor. No. Two different things. I mean, so he not only would he have to be a total piece of shit to lie. Also have to be like a Shakespearean that got him emotional. He is a crazy, and that's when he got learned from, respected. I mean, I think he was telling the truth with. What else? Okay. When he said that most of the people who Ford is bringing up, most of his friends and people who she said were at the party, who might have attended the party, according to Kavanaugh, all right, and not just according to Kavanaugh, because I'm going to explain to you where he got this from, but Kavanaugh said that all of these people said that they don't remember any party. They don't remember any party. All right. And I read an article where people were trying to go after him for that, saying that, well, these people hold a party. This is where I remember actually games to get him their official. They're saying he's lying. But what he says is what he said was they say that no party happened. Now, what they said in their official letters to the Senate, they said, I do not recall that party. Now, people said he's lying because of that. And I don't really think he's lying. It sounds like, yeah, entire senators. You're probably going to use very language. You might use very like not proper. Like formal. You might be very formal. So instead of saying that didn't happen, you might say, I have no recollection of that occurring, or something like that. It really sounds like to me that his friends who wrote these letters were agreeing with him. We're saying that yes, this party didn't even happen. You know what I mean? But to cover their asses, legally, they're saying, well, I do not recall that. It's very weird how they're playing a semantics game. And they're saying that, well, he's lying about his friends because his friends actually said they don't recall. But he said they're saying it didn't happen, which is kind of the same thing. When you translate from judicial talk over to like, common speak, it's like, all right, that's the same thing. So right there, I think he was obviously telling the truth, where his friends are saying we don't recall. No, I don't think this party even happened. So even if they're all trying to do together, he was not lying in that moment. He said this is okay. Now, to get into what I perceive as lies, when it comes to both these guys, or both these folks, I should say, that this man and this lady, because I know we live in 2018. You have to be very PC when it comes to gender, unless the person's trans and you call them, you have to say what they want you to say, whatever. But that's a whole nother podcast. But yeah, now to get into where I think they're both lying. Now I'll start with Dr. Ford, because I think that. And I'm not saying this to be snide, but I think that's easier. I think it's very easy to pick out where I feel like she's lying. Now, I did say it's not weird that she can't remember exactly where she was, or it's not weird that she can't remember exactly who might have attacked her. She might be fuzzy on it. Okay, but what doesn't make any sense is the fact that first she said it happened in her late teens, then she said it happened when she was 15. Now, 15 is not your late teens. I think it doesn't take a psychologist to figure this out. If you're 15, those are like your mid-teens. Like I'm 24 right now, so I'm in my mid-20s. If I were to say I'm in my early 20s, that's me trying to like hold on to youth or something like that. I'm 24. I'm in my mid 20s, not right in the middle, but I'm pretty much there. So there, you can't really make a mistake about that. I mean, this looks like a fucking dog here. That's crazy, but you really can't make a mistake about that. So right there, I feel like that's very suspicious that she comes in and she says that, she can't remember some of these details. But again, that's not suspicious, but specifically the age thing, the fact that she's saying that, I was 15, no, I was 17, and I don't know, that's an odd thing to me. That's an odd thing to me. But again, that's kind of tomato. That's a weird thing. Again, she's a trauma victim. Childhood memories or teenage memories get kind of mixed up and warped. Okay, fine, whatever, fine. We can give her that. One thing, though, to me that's glaring that no one's really talking about is the fact that, and I think she even said this in her testimony, she doesn't remember how she got home. That to me might be the fishiest thing of all of it. And I have more reasons why I think she might be lying, but that to me is the fishiest fucking thing. The fact that she's saying she has no recollection of how she got home. Now, I know she went through a traumatic event. And I understand that the mind does put up walls to preserve itself and to preserve you. Your mind, your brain puts up walls to kind of keep you safe. And she did say she had one beer. So maybe that one beer just knocked out all recollection of that night. But I'm not believing that. Personally, as an individual, I'm not saying that you should believe it or shouldn't believe it. But me personally, I'm finding that very hard to believe that, you're a young girl who grew up in the city. She's not some girl from Kansas who came to DC. I mean, she grew up in the Bethesda, Maryland area, which if you from around these parts, it's right outside of DC, the capital of the United States. You know what I mean? One of the busiest fucking cities on the planet. You know what I mean? I find it hard to think that you're like this city kid from DC and you have no idea how you got home. You didn't take the train, you didn't take a bus, you didn't walk. A friend didn't walk you home. You have no idea how you got home. To me, that's fishy. I've gotten blackout drunk before. I've gotten jumped before. I mean, I'm not trying to like compare contrast with experience here. But I've gone out and I've had a crazy night, or I've had something that you could say is traumatic happen. But I still remember how I got home. Like I still know how I got to my house. You know what I mean? Especially on nights like that, especially if you have a bad night, or especially if something weird happens. You know what I mean? Like, you remember all the details of how you got out the house and all this, but you don't remember how you got back home, like how you got back home to the safety of your parents. It's odd to me. That's one last thing I want to bring up about Ford and the negative side, the lying side, why I think she might be lying. Her body language. You know, I woke up this morning and there's a woman, I think she changed the name of her channel. It used to be like Barbara and like her last name, but now it's like the body language guru or something like that. If you go to YouTube, if you know, go here and you type in body language, her stuff will come up. But yeah, she's a body language expert morning, and she had a new video up, and it was about the testimonies that that Ford Kavanaugh gave, and she went over Ford's body language. Now, when it comes to examining someone's body language, it's a weird, not exact science. You know what I mean? Like, because body language is weird. Like right now, I'm making a conscious effort to hold my body a certain way, to speak a certain way, to look certain places. So like my body, but that doesn't mean that I'm like trying to lie to anyone. I'm just trying to do my first podcast. That's what I'm trying to do. You know what I mean? And just like with Ford, like, you know, the body language video was kind of pointing out that she was like, you know, like trying to make herself sound sad and things like that. But it's like, yeah, she probably was, because she's trying to get this Senate committee to listen to her. So obviously she's going to consciously or maybe subconsciously, you know, position her body or position her voice or vocal cords in a certain way. Now, that doesn't make me think that she's lying. But when you do look at some of her body language, right, not the sniffling and not like the crying, but towards the end of the hearing, she starts to look very indignant. She starts to look very like her shit doesn't stink. She starts to look very, and not like the look you give somebody where you're telling the truth but they don't believe you, not like almost like a wow, but like a very like it was I don't, it's hard to fucking, you know, replicate it. I'm not doing it justice, but she had like this very kind of like snide look on her face where her chin was up and she was kind of she was narrowly looking at people, and I thought it was odd. You know, people are talking about how Kavanaugh, his body language was so big and bad and menacing, but no one's talking about how sinister her body language was towards the end of the hearing. I don't know. She didn't look like a nice woman to me. She didn't, you know what I mean? Like all that victim shit went out the fucking window when they started like kind of bringing up certain shit. I understand getting frustrated, but I don't know. That seemed weird. It almost, you know what I mean? It seems weird. It just seemed like she dropped the act very quickly. And one thing too about her body language and the way she was behaving, and why I think, you know, she might be lying. At the very beginning of the hearing, she was like laughing and giggling. You know, she was laughing and giggling. And again, I know people cope with things a certain way, but she was, you know, she seemed like she was having a good time, and there was a lot of levity in the hearing as well with her. Like when they asked about taking a break, you know, she was making like, oh, I'm used to being academic. So, you know, is that work for you? And it was very cutesy. Like I kind of get Crowder's point when he's pointing out how she was acting very, very cutesy, you know, but again, all that shit went out the fucking window towards the end. You know what I mean? When they started to actually ask her questions, they weren't, and again, these are senators, so they weren't looking at her like, you lying bitch. No. Every single one of them gave her the benefit of the doubt and said, you're very brave for coming forward and all this stuff. So, but when the prosecutor started to actually get at her and started to actually do her job and ask questions, that's when she got mad. That's when she got indignant. And I think that's interesting to think about, that she got indignant when they started kind of going at her side of the story. Okay, so I guess that wraps up Ford. Now let's get over to Kavanaugh, and why I think he might be lying in certain instances. Did I do that right? Yeah, because I went Kavanaugh, Ford, and then Kavanaugh. Yeah. I covered. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I forgot to say why I think that Kavanaugh is probably lying. And if you couldn't tell by now, I'm not picking a side because I think that's stupid in cases like this. I wasn't there. And I think the implications of it really say a lot about people, no matter what side you're on. So I'm not picking a side, but I am leaning towards thinking that Kavanaugh didn't do it and that she might be mistaken. But one reason, but here, just to go at my own camp, I guess I should say. Let's go ahead and get into why I think that Judge Brett Kavanaugh, might be lying. Now, firstly, his calendars. I'm a guy who I use calendars. I'm 24 right now, and I think when you're a young guy, having a schedule and having a calendar is very important. I think no matter what your upbringing was like, being a young guy, especially in today's world, you need to have a calendar. You need to kind of keep yourself, on a good track. And Kavanaugh had calendars back in the day. And one thing he said about his calendars was, I don't have any, I didn't have any time for parties on the weekend. But on his calendar, he's got parties scheduled for the weekend. Like I saw with my own two eyes his calendar, and like he had like track meet, congressional something, blah blah blah, track meet again, practice, and then go to a party. Like he literally would like go to like a practice on Friday and then go to like a party after that, or go to a party on Saturday or something like that. So the whole idea of him just not having time to party, that I think that was really dumb that he said that, because that's something that's easily disproven. Even if he said it just to like defend himself, or like even if he was speaking generally, say, because to act as if a high school kid doesn't have time to party, that doesn't make it. That right there, it's like, that's a come on, Brett. Come on, dude. I'm kind of on your side, but that's stupid. Another thing. The entire fuck. What else? The girl. That's what I was gonna say. The yearbook friend that they all had, who they all like tagged in their yearbooks and said that she was like an alumnus. I guess that was the term. And him saying that, she was a good friend to all of us. She was a good friend of everyone on the team. Now, again, look, man, I wasn't a student athlete, but I knew a lot of student athletes, and they were cool with again, platonically cool with some girls. Sometimes, if you're on the football team, or even me, like I was doing plays and shit, but you're staying after school, and there's some cute girl from soccer club or whatever, and she's hanging out too. And you might become friendly with her. You know what I mean? You might not necessarily look at her like a sexual object, because at that point you guys are kind of doing the same thing. Like I'm not gonna, like when I was a theater kid, I wasn't gonna like try to like go at some girls from like the stage crew department, because like we're kind of doing the same thing. So the idea of them being cool with this girl, I'm just gonna say flat out, it does make sense. They could have just been cool with her. But let's get realistic. He said that the girl had never had sex with him. Now I believe him. Cool. She might have never had sex with him. And if she had sex with someone else on the team, that's not really his place to say. It has nothing to do with the circumstances going on, right? But the fact that he acted like he didn't even understand where people were coming from with that, the fact that he acted like, yeah, and she was a good friend, and we put her in our yearbook, and I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for that. Okay, if you were just her friend, if she was a respectable girl and she was respected, why are you sorry for it? Because he did say that. He said, I apologized to her for that. He got emotional. Again, it was a genuine moment of emotion. So why are you apologizing if it was all good intention? You know what I mean? Like, I never have to apologize to a friend unless I've done something shitty. So if you're saying sorry, you did something shitty. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. So, we got the whole, I don't have time to party. That's a lie. The whole, we respected this girl. She was a friend. Why are you apologizing to her then? Why do you have to say sorry if that alumnus thing if she was really one of the guys? Why are you apologizing? We all know how that shit goes. Come on, dude. And God, I should have written this shit down. And my third point, why I think he's lying. I had a good one. I had a good one. Must not be that good if I have to think about it like this. Again, if it comes back to me, I'll fucking go into it. But yeah, pretty much, I know it's been a ramble fest so far, guys, but that is my summary of the entire Kavanaugh versus Ford hearings. And really, now it's the whole investigation. Now it's the Kavanaugh versus Ford investigation. The FBI is on it, and we're gonna see what happens as far as that. But I don't know, man. I think the social implications of picking a side right now are very rough. I don't think you should pick a side when it comes to this stuff, man. Not yet. Because if you side with Ford right now, then it kind of makes you seem like one of these kind of like fanatical people and you're kind of on the Me Too side of things, which isn't wrong. I'm not saying Me Too is bad, but you're kind of, it kind of makes it seem like you're already in a certain camp and you're not going to budge. And same thing with the Kavanaugh thing. Again, if you're someone like myself and you're kind of leaning towards Kavanaugh, that might be okay. But if you're one of those people who's just like, nope, he definitely didn't do it. I don't think he did it. This is dumb. This shouldn't even happen. The fact that they're investigating is dumb. I don't know about all. You know what I mean? Like, because the fact that the guy is going to be on the Supreme Court, we might need an investigation. You know what I mean? So I think picking a side right now is just stupid. Again, I am leaning towards thinking that Kavanaugh is innocent, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Also, the dude's a Republican, so I don't. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I don't love the Democrats either, but I'm just saying Republicans, y'all get a little nutty, y'all get a little grabby. Y'all know how y'all get. White Republicans, come on, you guys, y'all get drunk on bourbon and shit, and y'all get weird. You get weird. I'm just pointing that out. That did make me think of something though when I brought up the whole FBI investigation. One thing about it is, Judge Kavanaugh is head of the circuit court for Washington, D.C. His background has been checked. It's been investigated. I think a lot of people think that, when they do a background check of like politicians, it's like a regular background check, like they do for like one of us. Like, we're gonna see what school you went to. Okay, that checks out. Okay, have you ever been to jail? No. When you become the head of a fucking court, I would just assume that they do a very, 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 very thorough check on who the fuck you are and where the fuck you've been and what you've done. You know what I mean? And I feel like, again, he's going to be on the Supreme Court, but him being the head of the Circuit Court of Washington, D.C. gives him a lot of judicial fucking power. So the fact that she thinks that like that, when he was on the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., not going to hurt anybody. But now that he's a Supreme Court justice, now he's going to hurt somebody. Now I have to come forward. That doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's a sticky, weird situation. I really want to move past it because I feel like part of the reason I've been rambling this whole time is because it's a lot of info and it's a weird thing and I don't want to say the wrong thing. Let's see. All right. Now, millennials and consent. All right, this is going to be a quick one because I have to go get high on life. But millennials and the entire idea of consent. The whole Kavanaugh versus Ford thing has made me think about it quite a lot. And I don't know, man. It's weird. It's really weird. Like consent is obviously important. I'm not just saying that because liberals have beaten it into my fucking skull. I say that because I genuinely mean it. I mean, consent is important in a lot of different things, whether it's sex, whether it's, working, whether it's, even speaking to someone, even approaching somebody, you want to have like someone's verbal consent or non-verbal consent. And that's the whole thing. It gets weird when it comes to consent. I think especially among, people my age, I think there are a lot of females my age, and not saying all females my age, but I think there are like a group of like a percentage of females my age that I think look for reasons. They look for reasons to I won't say that. They look for reasons to call a guy out on not getting proper consent. And I think that can be harmful because I think when a guy does take advantage of a girl or does try to pressure a girl into something, that's fucked up. That's really fucked up. But sometimes a guy, and I'm just speaking from experience and just from, hearing stories from guys I know in my own life, it's like, sometimes you're just trying to shoot a shot. Sometimes you're just trying to see, like if she likes you or like what's the deal here? You know what I mean? And I feel like if every little instance of a guy trying to shoot a shot ends up with an accusation of sexual misconduct, I think that we're not going to have people anymore. I think we're not going to have people, or we're not going to have like good, strong people. You know what I mean? The only people that are going to be able to reproduce are dummies. They're going to be like, like the weak beta guys who hang around for years and hope they get their dick sucked. They're going to be like the weird manipulative fucking bitches who like just say stuff to make people mad. Like, I feel like if we don't get a grip on the whole consent thing, I think it really is going to scare a lot of people away from not having sex, but maybe from having kids. You know what I mean? Perhaps from wanting to like create that bond with somebody to have a child, because And again, I'm not saying that consent is going to make guys boycott sex. That's not what I'm saying. But I really do feel like it's kind of turning a lot of people away. This overemphasis, emphasis on consent, I think is going to drive a lot of guys away from traditional, like, relationship goals and things like that. I mean, and I think we're already kind of seeing it. Again, like the title is Millennials and Consent. I'm not talking about Generation Z. I'm not talking about Generation X or the Boomers or any older generations or anything like that. I'm talking about Millennials. I'm 24, so I'm like on the younger end of that, but it's still my generation. And it's like, holy fuck, guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? We have a lot of crazy girls out here who are just consent. And we all know girls like that on our timeline or what have you. And you turn around, and it's like, this girl's like, she sells nudes, which again doesn't mean anything. That's not bad if someone sells nudes, but it's interesting that if you notice, like, it's always the girls who have like these weird, strict sexual guidelines that are incredibly open sexually, which it just doesn't add up to me. It just seems odd. It's almost like when it comes to like flesh on flesh, there's always like these weird, constrictive, odd things going on. But when it comes to like showing your body online, fuck it. I don't give a fuck. And again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It just doesn't seem honest. It's like the nice guy thing, a guy who's like, I'm super nice. I'm just super nice. I'm just so nice. I'm laid back. But if he gets rejected, he gets angry. It's not honest. It's not bad. I mean, shit, fuck it. I've been rejected. It sucks. It's not a good fucking feeling. You might get a little mad. So I'm not saying you're wrong for being mad, but it's dishonest to act like you're a fucking guy who's like, I'm your friend. I'm your buddy. But you really want pussy. It's dishonest to be like, fucking consent. Everything consent. And you're a harasser. You're a dirty harasser. But then you go out and you harass people. You grab tits. You make jokes about guys, about their dick size and all this shit. It's not just hypocritical. It's just dishonest. It is hypocritical, but it's just dishonest. And that's the part that really fucking like I can be a hypocrite sometimes, but don't be dishonest. Fuck, that might be my whole spiel for tonight, guys. I guess when I say guys, I'm talking to my damn self. But I mean, it's been a good first podcast. I got out what I wanted to say about the Kavanaugh thing. I said my little bit about millennials and consent. Hopefully it made sense to you guys. I'm trying to play it off like I'm not nervous, a little nervous first, live thing like this. Yeah, not sure if I'm going to do this weekly or if I'm going to do it daily, or I'm going to just do it sporadically. I might at first just kind of do it sporadically because I really don't want to wait until next week to post another one. So I might just, do it on like my next day off or maybe like Friday or something like that. But yeah, thank you. Thank you guys very much for tuning in to the little podcast. I'm your host, RJ Moore. Again, headphone fucking busted. This isn't like a fucking weird braid or anything. This is fucking headphone. Yeah, guys, shout out Joe Rogan. He's a god. He is a god. All right. I'm still a little high from earlier. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.